Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel, and if it is your first time here, then welcome. It is 19 days till the 20th anniversary of The Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Ring. I can't believe it's been 20 years. It's so awesome. It is December 1st, and perfect, wintry, beautiful day for me on this first day of the festive season, or what I count as the festive season. I know some people count the 1st of November, but I always counted December because I like fall. So it snowed all night last night. Super awesome, gorgeous, beautiful, like white Christmas levels of snow outside. It's so pretty. But I was going to continue Lord of the Rings online, but I couldn't get it to load today on my computer. Something was going on with it. So today, I decided to test my Lord of the Rings knowledge and take some Lord of the Rings quizzes. I think that'll be really fun. So this is the first one. I just typed in a Google search for Lord of the Rings knowledge quiz, and this is what I got. So let's answer these. Scroll to start the quiz. When Frodo and the other hobbits first meet Aragorn, he goes by what name? Oh, gee, this is a tough one. You know, I've only seen the movie 500 times, so I may not get this correct. Oh, is the correct answer? When Aragorn claims the throne of Gondor, he founds the house of Tul-Kantar. Tul-Kantar is Strider in the Elven language. Kenya, that's awesome. Be like, you want to call me Strider? Well, I'm going to be called Strider, but more formally. So, to open the gate of Moria, Gandalf says the Elvish word for... Gosh, guys, I don't know if I know this one. And it's just really hard. Because, like, it was this crazy riddle that no one could solve, not even Gandalf, a Maiar spirit who's been alive for thousands of years. He couldn't even figure it out. So how am I supposed to figure it out? And yes, I might be snarky for every single one. The word is melon. That is honestly one of my favorite scenes in the movie as well as the book. In the book, Gimli and Legolas just go back and forth with this elves are better than dwarves and dwarves are better than elves, like banter through the whole book. Like in the Two Towers, when they're counting off their kills to see who's better, that's canon for the book. So it's this dark, evil, crazy scene. And Tolkien has spent like 2 pages describing how dark and bleak and stormy and awful this battle is at Helm's Deep. It's the middle of the night and everything's hopeless and so many people are dead. And then out of nowhere, in the middle of the page, there's this like number spouted across the page. And then it just keeps going, and they just keep counting off because they're trying to see who's better. So Tolkien couldn't stay serious for very long. It turned very lighthearted. What if, in the middle of this battle that I just spent 3 pages telling you how dark it is, I just have the elf and the dwarf see who's better because they killed more people. It's pretty great. So yeah, the banter between... I went off topic, but the banter between Legolas and Gimli in this scene is hilarious in the book. It made me laugh really hard. It's like Legolas is all spouting off, well, you know, leave it to the dwarves to forget where they put their own door. Like, that is pretty silly though, even though it has been a really long time since anyone opened the door. But like, it's just silly. You forgot where your door was. Imagine if the door to your house was so well blended with the rest of your house that you just couldn't find your front door. It would be hilarious. So, at the beginning of the Fellowship of the Ring, Bilbo is celebrating his birthday. How old is he? They threw in a trick, 101 and 111. Pretty clever. But Bilbo gets up for his speech, and his opening words are to very enthusiastically scream, "It's my 111th birthday!" And he is 111 years old. Which is old, but not super old for a hobbit. So, yeah, Bilbo's cousin Frodo celebrates his 33rd birthday on the same day. But, yeah, Frodo is 33, which is coming of age for a hobbit. So it's kind of like your 18th birthday in the US. So he's coming of age. But what's funny is he's not 33 when they leave with the ring with Gandalf. So like Gandalf says, "Okay, I gotta go look something up," and then disappears when he's like, do you see him in Gondor reading stuff? When you see him in Gondor and he's reading, and he comes back. He's like, "Hang on a sec, I'll be right back." And then he comes back 17 years later. Like, he left to go look something up, and it was so perplexing that he spent 17 years looking it up. It's pretty great. In what country was the Lord of the Rings trilogy filmed? I'm gonna have to go with New Zealand on this. The entire trilogy was shot over a span of 8 years in director Peter Jackson's native New Zealand. He just went home and filmed a badass movie. Could you imagine being born in like Middle Earth and then creating Middle Earth? So insane. Whose voice is the first we hear in The Lord of the Rings? It's Galadriel, because she's narrating. Yeah. She's narrating. Why did that trick me? That one tricked me. I had to think about it. I've been so cocky until now. And now I'm just one of the simplest ones. The world is changed. I feel it in the water. I feel it in the earth. I smell it in the air. Much that once was is lost. I'm no Kate Blanchett, but when the movie comes on, I recite every bit. I used to actually watch Lord of the Rings so much that I ended up, like I could close my eyes without watching it and watch the whole thing, or at least a significant portion of it, and recite all of the dialogue. I was obsessed with Lord of the Rings to the point that at one point it was requested by the household, my dad especially, that I take a break from watching Lord of the Rings because I'd seen it so much. But we didn't own it, so I had to borrow it from people when I wanted to watch it. So I was at a friend's house, and they had it, Fellowship of the Ring, on VHS. And I ended up trying to sneak it out of the house after my dad told me no, and she caught me sneaking it out of the house and made me put it back, and I was super disappointed because we only had one TV in the house, so everybody had to watch what I watched if I watched something on the TV. So funny. John Rhys Davies, who portrayed Gimli, also played this character. Fun fact, it was Treebeard. So John Rhys Davies is Gimli and Treebeard. And, like, could you imagine anyone else's voice as Treebeard? Like, that booming, deep voice. He also did work on Justice League and Gargoyles animated series, as well as a variety of video games. That's a really random... Like, all the other ones have been related to Lord of the Rings, and this fact is like, did you know that John Rhys Davies also did Justice League and some video games? Gargoyles, though. That show was so cool. I was obsessed with that show. I watched that show so much. Good times with that period of animation. Aragorn is the heir of which king of Gondor? Well, poop, why don't I know this? I'm gonna get this one wrong. Aragorn's dad was Arathorn. But he wasn't the king. Why don't I know this one? I feel silly for the ones that I didn't know. Like, I didn't know the Galadriel off the top of my head without thinking voiced the opening of Lord of the Rings. So, ugh. It's not Arathorn. No, it's Isildur. He's heir to Isildur. Why am I like this? He were Isildur's heir, not Isildur himself. That's funny. Aragorn is heir to Isildur, king of all the Dúnedain, king of Gondor, and the one who got the ring from Sauron's hand, thus defeating him. Yeah, it's been like 2,000 years since there was a king of Gondor. Why did I think too hard about it? I just do that sometimes, where I think too hard. How are Merry and Pippin related? They're cousins, right? Yeah. Merry and Pippin have the same grandfather, and so they're first cousins. Merry is Frodo's second cousin, once removed. Yeah, because he's sitting at the bar. He's once removed on his mother's side. There is one of my favorite lines from the book where, excuse me, where it's right after Frodo has the ring fall onto his finger in the inn at Bree. So, like, Frodo's all worried because his friends are drunk and gabbing about stuff. So, Frodo, in an effort to draw no attention to himself, jumps up on a table and starts singing a song in front of everyone at the inn. And this song that he sings is actually almost but not quite the song that is sung in The Hobbit when the dwarves are in Rivendell and they're highlighting like the differences in their cultures, and they just start singing the song, there's an inn, there's an inn, there's a merry old inn. So Frodo, in an effort not to draw attention to himself, jumps up on a table and sings a song, and everyone loves the song so much that he sings it like 2 or 3 more times because everybody liked it so much. And then he falls off the table because he gets a little boisterous, and the ring falls on his hand and he turns invisible, and everybody's freaking out in the middle of the bar. And so later he crawls away and he takes the ring off, and Strider walks up to him and he goes, "You know, you did far more harm than any of your friends could have done." It's one of my favorite lines. who is the only Lord of the Rings cast member to have met J.R.R. Tolkien. That's Christopher Lee. Christopher Lee was a badass person. He did so many things. And actually, Christopher Lee got express permission from J.R.R. Tolkien to play Gandalf. But he wasn't cast as Gandalf. He really wanted to be involved in the films, so he took the role of Saruman. But could you imagine Christopher Lee as Gandalf? Like, how Tolkien intended the film to be? That would have been really great. Because both Christopher Lee and Ian McKellen have those big, deep stage performance voices that could really portray either of those characters. But I don't know, because Christopher Lee got other roles afterward where he was like a villain. So I actually have an autographed picture of Christopher Lee standing in front of the plane that he did in 007. So he's standing in front of like a plane that was in the movie 007. So like I never met him, but I stumbled upon this autographed picture of Christopher Lee, and the signatures look the same and were verified as being Christopher Lee. So it's pretty cool. I don't know if they actually are, because obviously I didn't hand him the picture to sign it, but I do own it. It's pretty cool. The material on the Fellowship of the Ring special extended edition DVD. Dude, I was obsessed with that. But fun fact, did you know that they mention in the behind the scenes that like when Aragorn kicks that helmet, he actually broke his toe and they kept it in this. God, that will never not be funny. That meme. Hey, did you know this fact that clearly nobody else will ever know? That was in the extended edition DVD set. No one knows this one, so I'm going to tell it to you. So, finish this quote. Potatoes! Boil them, mash them, stick them in a... It's gotta be pot. Pot pie, mouth, stick them in your mouth. Boil them, mash them, and stick them in a mouth. That's amazing. Could you imagine? That was the actual quote. Oh my god, that would be amazing. But it is stew. And Smeagol doesn't know what taters are and asks Grumpy Sam for an explanation. And this is what he got. A grumpy, this is what potatoes are, you silly fool. Who directed the film The Return of the King? Is this like a trick question? Because Peter Jackson directed all of them? Okay. I was gonna feel real silly. Along with the entire Hobbit trilogy. Can you imagine Guillermo del Toro? That would be such a different film. Including The Witch King. How many Nazgul are there? 9? Yes. 9 rings for... 3 rings for the Elven Kings under the sky. 7 for the dwarf lord with their halls of stone. And 9 for mortal men doomed to die in the land of Mordor where the shadows lie. So, the number of rings and such. So, Tolkien... So it's 1, 7, 9, 3. And J.R.R. Tolkien died in 1973. So in a way, he predicted, or at least correlated, the year that he was going to pass away with the numbers of the rings. And I found that out and it blew my mind. It's pretty cool. Minas Morgul, the dark city on the western edge of Mordor, was once known by what name? So, Minas Ithil? Oh, hey, I guessed right. Because Ithilien. Okay. Minas Morgul, the Tower of Dark Sorcery, is taken by the Witch King of Angmar and the Nazgul during the Third Age. Who plays the character Faramir? Sean Bean, Carl Urban, Brett McKenzie, David Wenham. Oh, Brett McKenzie! Brett McKenzie is like my absolute favorite. He plays a character called Figwit, which only shows up for 3 seconds of total screen time. He's a background character in The Fellowship of the Ring. And people thought he looked cute. So there was this huge fan following. There's like a documentary about it and everything for Brett McKenzie and Figwit. And he actually makes a return in The Return of the King. He is the person. So when Arwen is leaving to go back after she gets her vision of her son, Figwit, Brett McKenzie's character, is the one who says, "Lady Arwen, we cannot delay." So that's that character. But David Wenham. Wenham plays Faramir, the second son of Denethor, and younger brother to Boromir. After Boromir's death, he became captain of the White Tower. The Balrog that Gandalf eventually slays is also known by what name? Durin's Bane, Gothmog, Lungorthin, Morgoth. Morgoth is not. Durin's Bane. No one expected it to be a Balrog. After Morgoth was defeated, one of his Balrogs fled to overthrow the greatest dwarven kingdom to ever be, thus named Durin's Bane. Who says this line? White shores and beyond, the far green country, under a swift sunrise. Well, that doesn't sound so bad. No, it isn't. Gandalf. This is Gandalf's description of the afterlife to Pippin, when the forces of Mordor moved to attack Minas Tirith in the War of the Ring. Which actor was hired to play Aragorn prior to Viggo Mortensen? Oh my god, I can't remember. But it didn't work out. Was it? Yes! Townsend got 4 days into shooting before director Peter Jackson decided the 29-year-old was too young to play the Erebus Sildar. You're too young and pretty. We need somebody more gruff. But I always liked Viggo Mortensen's description of how he was like a last-minute fill-in, and then the horse that played Brago was also a last-minute fill-in. So they were like a little team of last-minute people. Who is Éomer and Éowyn's father? Theoden? Éomer, Éomund. Oh, Éomer, son of Éomund. So, yeah. Their father was named Éomund. He was the chief marshal of the Mark of Rohan under Theoden King until Éomund was killed by orcs. You see much. You hear much, Éomer, son of Éomund. Too much. Man, Grima. God, he did such a good job with that character. Just so slimy. Who was the leader of Saruman's Uruk-hai orcs? It was Gothmog, right? Or was it Lurtz? No, it was Lurtz. Was Lurtz the first leader? The one that gets killed? So what do they want from me? We'll say Lurtz. Okay, yeah. Only appearing in the films, Lurtz was the first of Saruman's Uruk-hai. He was the smartest, strongest, and most prestigious. Who is the tallest member of the Fellowship in real life? It's John Rhys-Davies, I believe. He's like 6 foot something, and he was taller than everyone else on set, which was really funny. And they had to force perspective real hard to make him look like a dwarf. So I want to say it's John Rhys-Davies. Yeah. Which you would think it was Ian McKellen because of how Ian McKellen holds himself when he's like Gandalf. I always pictured Ian McKellen as being like really freaking tall, and then they were like, nah, John Rhys-Davies, he's the tallest one. So, but I guess, or I feel like Orlando Bloom is also pretty tall, but I'm not sure. Although he plays one of the shortest characters, John Rhys-Davies is the tallest of the actors in the Fellowship at 6'1". Oh, I would have expected them to be like taller than 6'1", even if he was like the tallest. So they didn't choose for tall people. I don't know why, but I feel like 6'1" isn't like super tall. Like if you're towering over everyone around you, I wouldn't expect you to be 6'1". This actor was 30 years old when Lord of the Rings started shooting, making him the oldest of the 4 actors who played the Hobbits. Was it Sean Astin? No, it was Billy Boyd. Good grief. I didn't know their ages. Billy Boyd played Peregrine Took, one of Frodo Baggins' closest friends from the Shire, and another member of the Fellowship of the Ring. That's funny because, like, Peregrine Took, he was so young that, like, some of the people in the Fellowship had a problem with him being there because he was so young. He was, like, a little teenager in the books. So, like, Billy Boyd being the oldest and playing the youngest character is really funny. Which of the characters does not look into the Palantir of Orthanc? Saruman, Legolas, Aragorn, Gandalf. Legolas. What? Gandalf doesn't look into it? I would have thought he would have. They are not all accounted for. The lost seeing stones. We do not know who else may be watching, said Gandalf, warning of their use. Legolas has looked into the Palantirs? This is where my knowledge is waning. Like, I aced all the other questions, except for Isildur, which was really simple. So now I'm going to start missing questions. How are Galadriel and Arwen related? Galadriel is Arwen's great aunt. Galadriel is Arwen's aunt. Galadriel is Arwen's grandmother. Galadriel is Arwen's mother. Arwen's grandmother, maybe? Yeah. Galadriel and Celeborn had a daughter, Celebrian, who married Elrond. Arwen is Elrond's daughter, meaning Galadriel is her grandparent. Sauron's tower is called what? Barad-dûr, Isengard, Cirithungol, Orthanc. Well, Isengard is the name of the place, and it's Orthanc. When Frodo departs from the Grey Havens, what book does he give to Sam? There and Back Again, The Silmarillion, The Red Book of Westmarch, An Unexpected Journey. They just throwing that around every time the Hobbit's mentioned. But There and Back Again and The Lord of the Rings are both combined together. There's some room left. God, the Grey Havens. It's been 20 years. And I still sob. Just like from right around the point where Aragorn says, "You bow to no one," to the Grey Havens, to the end. For the whole last part, just ugly tears, sob. And it's been so long, I've watched like 500 times, and I still just cry. So, I think that might... What? The Red Book of Westmarch? The book was written by... I guess that's a collective title of both. The Red Book of West March. Oh my goodness. How do I stack up? Your score, 92%. You're a true expert. You got 46 correct out of 50. You scored better than 95% of quiz takers. That can't be right. A lot of these are like simple and basic. That one, such a trick question. But that's gonna be it for this video today. I hope you enjoyed it, and I am going to try and post a video every day until the anniversary of The Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Ring. So I hope you enjoyed this little quiz. The one quiz to rule them all. I believe is the title of it. Yeah, one quiz to rule them all. Which is pretty cute. So I will see you all later. Hope you enjoyed this video. And I don't know, maybe if you take this quiz, you can let me know what your score was. Or if, were there any questions that tricked you like they tricked me? Comment down below. Have a nice day.